The house was dark. And I put in my post, like, I gotta get paid up front, whatever. And then I was just like, yo, why the lights not on? And they're like, oh, I didn't pay my light bill. I have candles. And I'm like, yo, this is a red flag. So I go and I say, hey, I need the money first, whatever. All right, and they're like, oh, I just want to give you head. Once I heard that, I'm like, no woman is going on a website to find dudes to give head. You could go to your local bar and find that for free. And then so I got the money. I said, all right, go ahead. And I grabbed it by the neck and I felt the Adam's apple. I beat when I say the dog like for real, like it was like really like a bloody mess. Like it was bad.
Lou Charlestin was a teenage armed robber who thought 2 years in prison was his rock bottom. It wasn't. After high school, he's juggling life as a male escort and street hustler when one night everything explodes and someone ends up dead. Now he's facing a murder charge, praying it gets dropped and realizing how fast easy money can turn into 7 years in a Connecticut state prison.
So I'm from Stanford. Born and raised in Stanford. Moved to Bridgeport for like middle school and then moved back to Stanford for high school.
What was your upbringing like?
Bro, Haitian upbringing, meaning jeans, church shoes, fully dressed in church clothes for picture day. We couldn't go to any Halloween parties or celebrations. We didn't believe in Halloween. We went to church about 6 days a week, like the strict Haitian upbringing. Like that was the upbringing.
Were both of your parents in the picture?
Yeah, till like 5th grade.
Did they got divorced or separated?
Separated. Because they're like Haitian Christians. They don't believe in divorce, so they just, ride it through.
Did you have siblings?
Yeah, I have 1 brother and 3 sisters.
Were you guys all close?
All of us. Yeah.
How far in age?
So my older sister is exactly a year older than me. She's June 9th, 1990. I'm June 9th, 1991. And my brother is 92. My little sister is 94, and then the baby is 2000. She was like we didn't even know like how she came into the picture because my mom was in her 40s. We didn't even know she could have kids.
All with the same dad? You guys
all with the same dad, yeah.
Okay. What did your parents do for work?
My dad was a dishwasher. My mom was a CNA. So it was just like we were broke though. We were 100% broke. Because it didn't add up. We constantly had family coming from Haiti that we were housing and things like that. So it was like, other than the Haitian community sticking together, like it wasn't all that. We lived in a Connecticut Avenue in Stanford. But in the 90s though, it's nothing like how it is now. In the 90s, I'm talking about like it was the concrete stoops, the black metal doors. Like, yeah, it was the hood for real.
Despite your economic circumstances, do you think your childhood was good overall?
Yeah. Yes. Due to family. Our cousins, even though our parents weren't as close-knit with their siblings, the cousins, right? My cousins, we were all close-knit, so we created that. Like, we created that for ourselves. So it was a pretty good upbringing. At least I was put into like a leadership role young. So when my mom separated from my father, I was kind of like big brother / dad, So like a lot of the things that like my mom raised me in a way to be a provider and a protector. So I had to grow up a little bit faster,
When they separated, did your dad still stay in the picture?
I mean, I'm trying to remember. Not really, because not really. So my dad was diagnosed with a lot of things, like 3 years ago. But being Haitian, we don't believe in mental health. So we just thought, like, my dad's schizophrenic. So we just thought that it was a demon in him or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the Haitian culture. Like, oh, just pray for him. So it's a lot of things that went, like untreated, which is in turn why he acted the way he did. He also suffered from epilepsy, depression. Like, he suffered for a lot of things that we didn't know about at the time. So a lot of the things my mom went through with him was due to not being treated to mental health. You get what I'm saying? So was he in the picture? Not so much. Not so much. I mean, we moved to Bridgeport. He still lived in Stanford. We would see him once in a while, but we kind of like were in our own world.
Did you think that lack of a father figure at that point have a big impact on you and you're going into your teenage years?
I didn't think it impacted me up until my brother and I, like 2 weeks ago, had a conversation about it. And we're like, yo, we really didn't have like a male role model, like, which is why like we're trying to create something different for our kids. You know, my brother, 100% grinder. My brother's a chiropractor. He owns Charlestin Chiropractic Group. He has an office in Stratford, Connecticut, and he just opened up an office in Hamden, Connecticut. So he's doing his thing, right? But we're doing what our dad didn't. Like our dad showed us what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's that type of situation.
How would you have described yourself as a kid?
I was extremely smart. I was like the smartest one in the family. I didn't have to study, but the behavior was not there. As a kid, I was a jokester all the time. I was aggressive. I was very competitive, play sports. Um, I was very family oriented though. I rode out for family, you know? And yeah, that's how I describe myself as a kid.
Where do you think the aggression came from?
I got bullied a lot.
They bullied you, Lou.
Yeah.
For what?
Let me tell you why I got bullied. First of all, in my family, the older cousins are always gonna bully you. That's just that. But my brother was such a hothead. I kid you not. We would go to school. My brother would misbehave, do whatever he has to do, whatever. After school, we're leaving school. My brother comes up to me like, he's like, Lou, I'm like, hey, what's up? He's just like, okay, so I got into it with this kid. I'm about to fight him, and you're fighting his older brother. I'm in 6th grade, and the older brother's a junior in high school. so did I lose the fight? Yes, I did. Did I back down? No. But yeah, like I feel like bullying was a part of growing up. Not to say that I was intimidated by no, but older cousins, they're bigger than you. They had their way with you. They're gonna make you do what they want them, they want you to do. So the aggression came from that. Moving from Stanford to Bridgeport was a whole different dynamic. We're going from I'm in Stanford. I remember 2001 when the World Trade Center happened. I remember we moved like after that, and so I went from Stanford, where it's like 5th grade, everybody just chilling, we all happy, listening to like Little Bow Wow and NSYNC and things like that, to going to Bridgeport. The first thing you do when you walk into the bathroom, it's like 10 people in there, and somebody walks up to you like, hey, yo, bro, let me get my 30. And it's like, what? I was like, what is that? That's like, oh, we're going to fight. I'm like, why? They're like, I just want to see how your hands work. That's Bridgeport was different. You had kids selling cigarettes to the teachers. Like, in 5th grade, 6th grade, like, so it was a different ball game. So the aggression came from that, like, because you became a product of your environment once you got to that environment.
At that point in your life, where did you see your future going? What did you want to be? If anything at all.
I mean, I still did okay academically, but where I wanted to be was just, I don't even think I was thinking about that, honestly. I just knew I wanted to be rich, right? But that was like a thought without a plan. That's all I could think of.
Tell us about high school. Were you getting into trouble, or was it a normal
Yeah,
experience?
I got into trouble in high school. High school was the beginning of my demon days. High school, I had this one teacher. I'm not gonna lie to you, Miss Danucci. She was my algebra teacher, and I made her cry. And the reason I made her cry was because she said, "You have so much potential." She's like, "You come to class, you put your head down and go to sleep, and when we take a test on Friday, you get a B. And I have people that's in here every day paying attention and getting a C. She's like, why don't you apply yourself?" And I'm just like, shut up. Like, no, for real, because that wasn't really my interest. Like, I just had, and it wasn't to say that I was like extremely like OD smart. It was just like I had very good like short-term memory. I could remember something long enough for me to, pass the exam or do what I have to do. But the problem with that is what happens for midterms, or for finals. Now I gotta really, really study for real. So that was that. But high school, I was a troublemaker for sure. I was still the jokester. more towards the end of high school. I ended up going to prison during high school for a first bid. Believe it or not, it was for a crime that I honestly didn't commit.
What was it?
It was robbery, second, and conspiracy. My cell phone was used in a so my cell phone was, I was the only one in my neighborhood with a cell phone at the time. And so a few people from my neighborhood called and robbed a Chinese delivery man. So when I get arrested and all that, they did a lineup where the Chinese delivery man said he never, you know, seen me before. Not I'm sorry, let me correct that. It's not like he said he never seen me before. He said that he delivered to me before and he would know my face. But given the fact that this is the part that I did play. After they did do that, right? After they did do that, they did call me and say, "Hey, listen, we need an alibi." And yes, I did create an alibi, so I could see where the conspiracy was. But this is before I was I wasn't in the streets yet, So I was like dumb to that, to know like I'm implicating myself in a crime and things like that. But I was just trying to look out. Like I said, I was loyal to my friends at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know the court system or whatever. The public defender said, "Hey, listen, take this time." My lawyer for the other case later was just like, "Bro, I would have spanked this, but who knew? Who knew? I just took the first offer they threw at me. That's all."
Do you wish you told, looking back on it?
No. You know why? It's because there's certain things that I learned in prison that I don't think I would have learned without going to prison. So my first bid was NYI. That's gladiator school. Out of all the prisons I've been to, that was the worst. The youth prisons are the worst prisons possible. It's when everybody's going through puberty, like emotions is there, testosterone is there. It's nuts. And it put me in a position to be like, yo, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for real. Because I feel like it toughened me up. Because one, you don't have a gun in there. All you have is your hands. Or the gift of gab. You can talk your way out of a problem. If you're good enough. You get what I'm saying? So and it's just like being under like supervision all the time and things like that, it really make you look around and be like, yo, I can't let another man tell me when to eat and do what I have to do and things like that. But it teaches you that at a young age. You get what I'm saying? So not to say it's gonna change you to never go back to prison, because I did end up going back to prison. But it's like it was more on some like I came home more humbled, and that's where my work ethic started. From being a tierman in prison to coming home and being like, I get paid more than 75 cents a day for this? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So I think that's where the work ethic was created.
Were there things you were doing at that time period that you just weren't getting caught for? Like, were you running with that crew at all?
Bro.
Say they're robbing the Chinese guy.
Bro, let me tell you something. If you knew how many shootings I did at that time, it's a lot of things I didn't get called for at that time.
So do you feel like a part of you took that bid because, I don't know, karma, or you knew you were guilty of other things and this is the thing that you just happen to go down for?
No, because it's like catch me if you can, right? You didn't like, I did so much. It's kind of like I would rather have fought something that I actually did rather than sit there and sit for something that I didn't, So like in the time period, yeah. It's crazy because I compartmentalized a lot of things. So a lot of the like shootings I did, it's people that reminded me of it, right? So this one girl, I'm not gonna put her name out there because I don't know what career she has now, but I remember I saw her like 2011 because I came out 2010, and she's like, "Yo, Lou, the last time I saw you, you hopped out of a white Jeep Grand Cherokee," which I know she's not lying because that was my dad's car that I used to steal. And she was just like, "You had a sawed-off shotgun," and asked me if a certain group of people was at this party, and I was just like, "Yeah." And she just said I went into the like party looking for them, and then all she heard was the buckshots. And and the crazy thing is, when she told me the story, I remembered it, but it was a dream to me. Like it was like, oh, that really happened. Like, it was a dream to me. That's how I know, like, there's a lot of things I put in my mind and just like try to erase.
So what was that defining moment that led you down that path? Because does it just happen overnight?
So no, so
or-
the defining moment, and shouts out to my cousin, Eric Benjamin in Rhode Island. I love you, Eric, but he was a defining moment in me becoming like somewhat like that, because he went to prison and things like that. But more so, it was a friend of mine. This dude Dino. He was a friend of mine. He allowed me to jump off the porch, right? So this dude, Dino, he's doing extremely well now. I love you, boy. But Dino, at the time when we were younger, he was nuts. You get what I'm saying? Like, he was nuts. And so we went. I mean, that was my first shooting. That was my first home invasion. That was my first, like, everything. You get what I'm saying? Like, he was like he used to like put things together. Like, he was a good thinker, you know? Like, he was a good thinker in terms of putting things together. But at the same time, it's like, there's a lot of times I had to be like, yo, Dino, you're gonna have to chill, bro. Like, you're gonna have to chill. But he's the one that allowed me, like, I got my first gun with him. You get what I'm saying? So, and that's when it really began.
So what was it about those things? Like, if you're a teenager doing a home invasion, what is it for you?
So,
Is it money? Is it the feeling or the
no,
power?
for the home invasion, this is how it usually happens. Somebody makes a rumor that that house is the house of a drug dealer. So you're going in there, it's like 30,000 cash, and you're going to find 10 guns. Usually not the case, because who at that age is really scoping something out? So it's probably like a rumor. You go, you do the home invasion. It just so happened in this one, we actually found guns. You get what I'm saying? And due to the statute of limitations, this is over 15 years ago. So yeah, over 15 years ago. The statute of limitations is up. But yeah, so, and we found guns, and that was that. You get what I'm saying? Now, Dino was the type of person that, like, yo, I could say at the time he was a grimy dude. Like, not like grimy as in like, Dino's the type of person, no lie, if I'm gonna describe him to you, it's kind of like you like violate him in some way. And then Dino's like, oh, okay, right? And then and he was staying with me at the time. We got back to my crib, and Dino was like, I think I'm gonna kill him. Like, it's like, yo, I didn't think you cared at the time, like, you know? So it was just like, that's the mentality I was around. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's the mentality I was around. So, and my friends from my neighborhood hated it. They hated me at this time, because that was a transition from the Lou they know to Lou Banger. You know? That's how I started, like, all the shoot-ins and, you know, and getting it in for real. Like,
Now, why Lou Banger? Is it because you guys were gangbanging? Were you guys in a gang?
no,
or-
so I got the name Lou Banger from a dyke girl named Monda from the east side of she's from Lawn Ave in Stanford. So I got into a fight with this dude, Potface, and Potface is doing extremely well. He's married with kids. He's doing great. He has a hot sauce company. So shout out Potface, you're doing your thing. But we got into a fight in high school, you know, which was crazy because it was actually over the woman that he's married to now, Paula. Wonderful woman, you know. They've been together forever. But and after seeing the fight, the girl Monda said, we can't call you Lou anymore. We gotta call you Lou Banger for the hands. You get what I'm saying? So that was that situation.
Now, your parents didn't raise you to be this type of person, so
No, but you know what's crazy? Come to find out, my uncles, right? Couple of my uncles, while they were in Haiti, that's the lifestyle they lived. That was a lifestyle they lived. They did like play with guns and things like that in Haiti. Because my mom used to wonder, where is this coming from? But it's like my mom met my dad in America. She didn't meet him in Haiti. They're two different classes. My dad was poverty. My mom was like upper class. So they look down on the poverty people, you know? It's like, so yeah, I'm just like, so do I think it's hereditary? I don't think it's hereditary, but I think certain things that you're capable of doing come from, I think, DNA. I think so.
now that first sentence, how long was it when you were a teenager?
2.
2 years.
No, 3 years suspended after 2.
Now, they didn't have any type of rehabilitation program or anything to get that, like a diversion program? That was your
Bro,
first
they
offense.
denied my AR and my YO. That's messed up.
Is it because it was a violent crime or?
Even so, it's my first offense. You get what I'm saying? I got, not only did I get charged as an adult, but bro, I seen violent crimes where you could use your AR. If you've never been in prison before, bro, never been arrested before, I don't see why they wouldn't give it to you. You get what I'm saying? But no, I got denied for both.
How do you think that impacted the rest of your life going to prison at that age? Like just in general, you know, from a
So when you go to prison at that age, it solidifies you as a gangster, at least in your head. You get what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of people that talk that prison stuff but never been there. So to have been there and then come back and everybody saying, oh, free loot, free this, free that, then you come home and you know, it's like even if you weren't like really like that, after coming home from prison, you might as well be because you did your time and it is what it is, you know? So it affected me to where now it's like, as a felon, bro, let's just say, as a few things I did for work because I couldn't find a job.
And we'll get to that part of the story later. So now you're in prison for your first time. You're a teenager. When's that first moment where you kind of really learn how to navigate and survive the prison system?
Shoot. Well, I had friends that were already in prison. But the first time I learned to navigate was on the ice cream truck going, right? That's where you hear the prison lawyers, the people that when they hear, they like, yo, bro, what you in here for? Oh, I'm in here for like robbery first. Oh yeah, you gonna get smoked, bro. Yo, just take that 10. You know, that's like that we call them the prison lawyers. They know everything, even though they're not prison lawyers. They're just saying anything. You know, every situation is different. That's where you meet the liars, like the people that was just like, yo, man, when I was in the world, I was getting like 7 kilos a week. You heard? Like, you know, you got the liars. And I'm like on the ice cream truck, I'm just listening and I'm like, I know this dude. No, you weren't. You used to chill outside of McDonald's like a bum. Like if anything, you were the client. You get what I'm saying? Like you were doing the drug, not selling it. What else did you meet? You met the person that like you met the people that like weren't built for it because they're sitting there like crying on the ice cream truck, like, yo, I ain't even do nothing, that I can't believe this, da-da-da-da. Then you got the other people that's being delusional to themselves. Hey, yo, bro, as soon as I get up there, my people's on the way, I'm getting bonded out. This is light, da-da-da-da. A year later, I'm like, damn, you still didn't get bonded out? Like, you know? So, like, that was my first, like, wow. And then the smell. The smell of like that sour stench of the ice cream truck was like, yo, this is it. Like this is crazy. You're in chains in the ice cream truck. You get that smell, and it's like, what am I doing here? Like that was like that moment. Even that moment was bigger to me than even getting to the prison and getting like searched and all of that. Like just the ice cream truck in itself. Bro, to be shackled by your feet and like that's different. At least in the prison, if you're getting cuffed up, it's like, you know, up here but when you got it going around your waist and all of that, you like, what is this? Like this is like what did I do? You know? So that was that moment for me.
Let me be real with you for just 1 second. There was a time in my life when my credit stressed me out. I didn't fully understand how it worked. I didn't realize how much small mistakes could follow you, and I definitely didn't know how to fix it fast. And bad credit, it makes everything harder. Apartments, cars, interest rates, all of it. That's why I want to tell you about Ava. Ava is a credit building app that's designed to work fast and help your credit score where it really matters, so your credit score can start climbing with almost zero effort. Here's what I love about it. Instead of putting down a big deposit like a secured card and waiting weeks, Ava can approve you in 5 minutes, with up to a $2,500 credit limit and no credit check. And you're not changing your life to build credit. You just pay your monthly subscriptions like you normally would using the Ava Credit Builder card, and Ava reports your on-time payments to all major credit bureaus. That means the bills you're already paying could actually start working for you. They can even report your rent, utilities, and phone bills, even up to 24 months of past payments, so your everyday life helps build your credit faster. Ava members improve their scores by an average of 30 points in 30 days. That's real movement. If you've ever felt stuck because of your credit, or you're trying to position yourself for something bigger this year, a better place, a car, a loan, this is your sign to get proactive. Take control of your credit today. Download the Ava app, AVA, and when you join using my promo code LOCKEDIN, you'll get 20% off your first year, monthly or annual, your choice. Again, grab the Ava app and use my promo code LOCKEDIN so they know you heard it from me, and you'll get 20% off any plan for up to a year. That's promo code LOCKEDIN. Thanks to Ava. Now go get yourself good credit. Now, the people that were crying and were the weaker ones, what would happen to them? And what did that kind of teach you about the system?
Yo, you could never live it down if you crying, because somebody gonna be in the prison like, yo, this, like, one of them, like months later was acting tough, and then somebody was just like, bro, you acting like I wasn't with you on the ice cream truck and you were crying like a little bitch. You definitely not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my thing is that in prison, if you show even if you don't show weakness, people gonna try you. When people say, hey, yo, just keep your head down, mind your business, that's false. You could keep your head down and mind your business and somebody's gonna try you. It's just that. But I tell people, you better off getting beat up or whatever the case may be than like bitching out, because now more people gonna try you. More people gonna try you. The people that were crying, I looked at them like, yo, you already here. Crying is not gonna change it. So what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? But that was my first bid. We talking about we 15, 16, 17 years old.
When was the first time someone tried you?
As soon as I got to the prison. I got into D cottage. So at the time, D cottage was the intake cottage, right? And so a friend of mine slid me a package. I'm gonna explain what package is, because you know what a package is, but basically like a bunch of stuff: soap, toothpaste, all of that, bags of chips and soups and stuff, just to get me right until I'm able to order commissary. It was somebody in the cell across from me, and he called me to the window, and I was like, yo, and then he was just like, yo, oh, somebody sent you a package. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, what you get? I'm new to prison. I'm just like, yeah, I got this, and this. He's like, I bet. He's like, yo, let me get half of that. I was like, what? I was like, what, you need a soup or something? Like, I got enough soups to give you one. You know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, I need half. And then I'm still confused. I'm like, nah, bro, I'll give you a soup. And then somebody in the vent on my side, because he's on the other side, called me to the vent. He's like, yo, one cell. I go to the vent and I'm like, yo. He's like, bro, what he trying to say is he trying to extort you. And I'm like, no. I'm all naive. Like, I'm like, no, he's not. And like, for real? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right. So I go back to the door and I said, hey, yo, bro. He's like, yo. And I was just like, when they pop us out for chow, just come in and get it. He like, what you mean? I was like, nah, come in. I'm gonna close the door and then get it. Like, and he like, nah, I'm just fucking with. No, they'll try you. Like, and then the person in the vent called me back to the vent and was laughing. He's just like, bro, he not even like that. Like, he was just trying to see, what's up. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the first time I got tried. Like, and I was just like, yo, what? Like, crazy.
Now, out of that 3 years you get there, how long do you do?
I do 2. No, more like 20 months.
And do you complete high school in there? Do you get your GED?
Yeah, I got my GED. So crazy thing is, right? Rather than the GED, they had 2 programs: the GED program and the actual high school diploma program, right? So my diploma says Unified School District 1. I did the high school program, and I did get it, my GED high school diploma in there.
So what were you, like 18 when you got out?
Yes, because I think I got out after my birthday. I was 19. Because I think 17, 18, 19.
So you're 19, you're a felon. What's your plan?
My plan was to get a job because I'm on probation. That was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. So, um, yeah, it was get a job. I got out 2010, right? So I ended up getting a job at Advanced Auto Parts, which was pretty dope. But of course, being young-minded and being like a criminal mindset, I was telling people like parts without ringing it up. But I would tell them, listen, there's no warranty. You just buy this and then you out. I sold an alternator. This is after I've been working there for like 8 months. I sold an alternator to some dude, Spanish dude that barely speak English. And I said, yo, you can't, do that. This dude, I go on break. This dude comes back on my break trying to return it because he got the wrong number. He gave me the wrong car information while my manager was there and said, this was never sold. Who sold you this? So I got fired on my break.
So you were taking the cash that people would.
100%.
How much money do you think you got from this?
That I made during the course of me doing that?
Yeah.
6-7 grand.
And no one ever noticed till this one guy tried to return it?
We always have like what's that budget for like loss prevention? Of course, but this is over a course. It's not all like 1 week or, so it's over, I would say over a long time because it would not just be just that. So it would be like this. It's a bunch of stuff. I'll ring up a bunch of the stuff and then the major thing like a water pump or like 2 rotors and stuff like that. I'll be like, yo, pay me cash for that. You get what I'm saying?
So the people have to be in on it too for it to work.
100%.
And what are you giving them a discount?
No, I'm giving it to them. Bro, I'm literally giving them the product and they're giving me the cash and I'm putting the cash in my pocket.
Yeah, but why? If they say I want a receipt for that, then what's the benefit for them?
No, so that's something that I would establish with them before we even ring it up.
Okay.
That's what and that's why I said I established like, yo, bro, if you take this, I'll pay you cash. I did it mostly with people with like commercial accounts, right? Those are mechanics. They're like, yo.
People that didn't care and knew they weren't going to return it.
They know for a fact they're going to return it because they're putting it in a customer's car.
Okay.
It's just that.
So you get fired. What happens after that?
So after I got fired from Advance, let's just say that like it's some stuff that I went through a different route. So I had this girl, Chelsea, that used to, prostitute. So she, I asked and while I was living home, I used to like rent out my room to her in order for her to do what she has to do. I would just leave the room, go out or whatever, and I get a percentage of it. And then she said to me, bro, why don't you just do it yourself? And I'm just like, you mean women would pay to have sex with me? Like, I'll be willing to pay to have sex with women. You get what I'm saying? And she's like, nah, just give it a try. You never know. And so, but she was explaining to me, like, you can't write $120 for a half an hour, $250 for an hour. You can't write that. She's like, you got to write roses. And I was just like, oh. She's like, yes, you got to get paid in roses because you can't have, a money transaction. And I'm like, all right. So I posted on Backpage, right? And so to those who don't know, Backpage was like literally where you could hire anything from a freaking, prostitutes. And so it was slow, bro. I wasn't getting hit ups for nothing. And then I finally got hit up, right? I finally got hit up by a lady. Now, this was interesting because I thought it was fake. So the lady lived in California, but worked, but once a month had a company meeting because she was one of the owners, or her husband was one of the owners, or she was one of the owners in Manhattan once a month. And so she said, so she was just like, I would like to, like do because this is when Uvu was jumping. And so she was just like, I want to Uvu call you and see like what you look like for real and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, yeah. And so I did that. And then she was just like, okay, well, I would like to see you once a month. I pay $100 extra for every time you ejaculate. And I'm like, yo, word? And she's like, yeah. So I hit up my boy, rest in peace. I love you, bro. Jamel Sawyer, because at the time he was in a wheelchair and he used to give me like his Cialis and his like Viagra, and I used to like pop half of it and just be ready, bro, like and be ready. So, bro, I got paid $1,000 for 45 minutes and $100 for every time I ejaculated. Bro, once a month. It was great. And she, bro, when I say brunette, she wasn't bad looking at all. Right? So I wondered like why she would, hire somebody. But then it made sense because she has an image to keep and you can't have like constant communication. Because with her, it's whenever she hit me up. I never texted her, never anything like that. So I had that. Now, through a friend of a friend, she told I was invited to do a swinger party. And that is, it was like someplace in New York, but it's like a club, I didn't even know it was like that. It's just like one of those places where you think it's like a abandoned building. It was actually like a swingers club. And so she paid me $400 to be like her date, and like it was wild in there, like for real.
How does that work, the swingers party?
So the one that I went to, it's like, it's like a members thing. She was the member, and I had to come in. So it's like couples. It's some married. Her and we were a couple, but she just hired me, and so it's like it's different. It's different rooms, different. They have a bar. If you some of them like more of the house ones, like that's outside a house. They have like a pill bowl with like ecstasy and whatever you need. They got the condom bowl. They got the bartenders that do the drinks. Whatever drink you want is free. You just tip, the bartender and things like that. They had rooms where they had the dominatrix room. You get what I'm saying? If you're into that, they had the glory hole where the glory hole honestly was like, they did competitions where it would be like 9 dudes, 9 chicks, and it would be like who can make somebody ejaculate. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so it was the girls versus the men, like if they could get more men to ejaculate than not. And so that was like a competition, but it was like a glory hole situation because you wouldn't see who the girl is because you're behind the thing and all she's doing is sucking the dick.
So, do you think you were comfortable around all these men, probably naked because of prison?
No. So my thing is this. Keep in mind, I'm getting paid, right? So you're not walking around naked. You get what I'm saying? Like, you only get naked when you're getting into action. Now, there were some women walking around topless and some dudes that were walking around like in like, Speedos or whatever the case may be. That's to each their own. But for the most part, you just had to have like just be respectful, because there might be a dude that come and try to massage your shoulders, and you're like, nah, bro, it's not that type of party. Don't go crazy, like, yo, get the fuck off me. No, just no, it's not that type of party. And they're very understanding. They're very understanding because it was some freaks. There was some freaks in that, but it was cool. I got to experience a lot. Like the swinger parties where I got introduced to like furries. You know what furries are?
Yeah, I know what a furry is.
Yeah.
Were you worried about getting caught at all running like this male escort business, going back to prison?
No. Because I felt like people got caught in rings. Because most of the people that I saw get caught were like in like if they were doing like freaking like a parlor, or like if they were on a site that like, okay, you're going to a hotel and you're going to meet this girl, that type of situation. And in terms of like getting hired as a swinger, that was word of mouth. I didn't post anything for that. You get what I'm saying? That's like word of mouth.
Were you surprised by how many people were into that?
Yes. No, I was surprised at how many prominent people were into that.
Like well-known people, or just people with like higher class?
Higher class, like, were into that. Bro, the weirdest thing I saw was like dudes that wanted to like, they had like diapers on and stuff. And like they wanted the girls to like feed them a bottle and burp them. And like, yo, It was this one dude that literally shit it in his diaper and wanted to get changed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but they pay big money. Like the chicks that did that, leaving with like $5K.
Did you ever have a weird altercation as the escort, like when it's just you and someone else?
Yes, I did. That's actually why I stopped.
Okay, tell us the story.
Yo, so it was when I was doing like a So let me just put the timeline. So this is why I stopped escorting in general, because I had a separate phone for escorting, right? I had a separate phone for escorting. So all of my clients and all of that was just on one phone. So I did a out call from Backpage, right? And it was like a weird situation because when I got to the house, right? When I got to the house, it was like it was like the house was dark. You know what I'm saying? And I put in my post like I got to get paid up front, whatever. And then I was just like, yo, why the lights not on? And they're like, oh, I didn't pay my light bill. I have candles. And I'm like, yo, this is a red flag. But because I drove like 40 minutes, I'm like, I need to get my money first, right? And then I'm gonna see. yo. I was already pissed because first of all, it's like, what voice do you think you disguising? Because I'm not dumb. So I go and I say, hey, I need the money first, whatever. All right. And then they're like, oh, I just want to give you head. Once I heard that, I'm like, no woman is going on a website to find dudes to give head. You could go to your local bar and find that for free, you know? So, and I just want to give you head. I'm like, yeah, all right. And then so I got the money. I was like, all right, go ahead. And I grabbed it by the neck and I felt the Adam's apple. I beat the dog. When I say the dog shit, like for real, like it was like really like a bloody mess. Like it was bad. But I was on probation, keep in mind. So I had to ditch the burner phone. Because think about it. That person could say, this is the number that assaulted me. You get what I'm saying? And then it connects to every other person that's on that. They're going to just track that phone, find any other number it dialed. Anything could link back to me. Bro, I'm on probation. And I had 5-year probation over my head, right? No, a 5-year cap over my head. So if I violated, I could have went back and did 5 years. You get what I'm saying? So I ditched that whole phone. I didn't save any number. I didn't use any number. I ditched that whole phone, and the lady from Manhattan that once a month lost it. The swinger lady lost it. So that was that, and that phase was like, dang, it's over. So I thought. So after that situation, I fell back. I took my back page down, all of that. So whatever, I'm still looking for work or whatever the case may be. I ended up finding a job at where I work at now, the Spotted Horse. But keep in mind, I found the job at the Spotted Horse. Let me see, July, August. 2 months after the case, because the case, the body I went down for was 2012. Right, but I didn't get picked up till 2015. But we're gonna get to that. But so now I found a job. But while I was going to the gas station, at a random gas station in Stratford, it was a white dude that was just like, because I was going to the gym at the time. He's like, hey, bro. He's just like, you're in pretty good shape. I'm like, oh, thank you. He's just like, you ever thought of being a male entertainer? And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, I'm so serious. He showed me his company, Men in Motion. You know what's so crazy, Ian? I'm still on the website.
Wait, you became like one of those Magic Mike guys?
Yes, but I didn't get to hit the stage. I didn't elevate that high.
What were you doing, like private parties?
I did private parties.
Okay.
Yes, I did private parties.
Like the Bachelorettes and stuff?
Yes, I did private parties. Yeah, and then I did private parties, and it was, bro, that was probably like the most fun experience I ever had in my life.
But I think the funniest part about all this is you're a street dude.
Yes.
at the same time.
So my boy Evanks, I remember at the time, he was just like, I know a stripper nigga that would kill you. No, real talk. So you got the street stuff happening on the side. But I did like gun for hire for a little bit, things like that. You feel what I'm saying?
What do you
Like,
mean by that, gun for hire?
oh, like literally, like people would pay me to like hit shit.
To what? To steal or
Oh no, hit shit.
like to shoot someone?
Shoot somebody, or not even. Sometimes, like when I got hired by some Italian. I believe they were Italian. I know if they were Italian, right? And literally the hit was just to shoot up a restaurant, right? That was being built, that the city already didn't want that family to have a restaurant there because of what they think the, crime that they would bring. And believe it or not, it was the uncle of the person opening it that paid me to shoot up that restaurant. So because it already brought violence, it was never able to open.
So you're not hired to kill someone. You're just hired to
Nah,
shooting like that.
Like, yeah, not hired to kill anybody. I didn't. It wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough like money to do that. Like,
so a restaurant shooting like this, how much you get paid for that?
bro, I was cheap. I think I did that for like 7 G's.
When you look back at it now, what do you think?
Stupid. That wouldn't even be enough for my bond. That was dumb. That was really dumb. It was dumb, bro. It was so dumb.
So now tell us about this case you end up going down for. You get the job at the restaurant, 2012. You're still doing your street stuff, I imagine. And then 2015, you get caught with a murder charge.
In the restaurant.
Oh, you were in the restaurant when this happened?
I have the video too.
All right, tell us the story.
Okay, so which story you want to hear? Me getting arrested or the whole situation?
I guess tell us the situation first and then lead into getting arrested 3 years later.
The situation that happened was in 2012 where 4 people were shot and 1 died. It was a situation in which I had problems. It's not that I necessarily had problems with a certain neighborhood, but it was just something happened 2 weeks prior to me having an issue with somebody from a neighborhood. And when I got to this party in Stanford, the person that had an issue with me slapped me with a pistol in that situation. And long story short, I waited under a lamppost, and when I saw a group of them coming, like I literally so they had it down as 2 different shooters, when in reality I just had 2 straps and let them have it. So I shot 4 people, 1 died.
So you were the actual one that killed him?
I was the only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't get caught. Why 3 years? Why didn't you get caught that night?
I mean, honestly speaking, that wasn't the only shooting that night. There was a lot of things going on. 3 years later, right? Somebody by the name of Sean Hunter got caught. Well, it was a couple people. It was this dude, Marcus Williams, who identified me as the shooter, but that got thrown out. This kid, Sean Hunter, got caught for a home invasion and literally like said that he brought up, this is how good this kid memory is. After that crime happened, I was on the phone with this kid that I used to be cool with, this kid, J-Rock. So he called his sister. I was best friends with his sister. She called me. And he was talking about the situation. And so the whole thing was, did you throw that party? Like, that was the line that the state had as me saying that I did it. And I said, yeah, I threw a party on the east side and on the west side, but the party didn't mean a shooting. You get what I'm saying? A murder, because nobody got murdered on the west side. So how would a party, But the dude, Sean Hunter, when he got caught for something in 2014, 15, he said, listen, I was cellies with this kid, J-Rock. If you go back to this month, somewhere around this month in 2012, J-Rock and Lou was talking about the case. and you can nail him like that. That's how grimy this dude was, just to get out of a home invasion.
So it was just an unsolved case all these years.
All these years, yeah.
Do you think police pushed it to the side because it was like gang type violent related, or
It wasn't even gang related. I think police pushed it to the side because of how many potential people could have been involved. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just so many different rumors, bro. Like, it was just so many different rumors.
but there was a lot of people like involved in criminal activity.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't like a run of the mill person, an average person in the mall walking that got shot.
No.
So do you think they pushed it aside because of that as well?
Yeah, at the time, I think they just wanted convictions. Honestly, I don't think they ever stopped pushing it to the side, because when I finally got my discovery, they were getting statements from people through the years.
Oh, so they were actively looking for it.
They were actively.
Wow, they must not have had much of a case on you during those 3 years.
They didn't.
All right, so tell us about the arrest after this guy gives them the information.
Right. So I don't know how long after I got arrested, but I was working at the Spotted Horse, and you could see in the video that I'm walking doing my rounds as a bar back, the bar area, and you see like 10 police officers, Stanford Police Department in Westport, because Westport, had to be on scene, come and like arrest me, like in the restaurant.
And what is everyone saying? Like, what are the people doing?
People are like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And then like it was this one host. He's like a British dude, Hooper. He was just like, "Get your hands off of him. Like, I will call my lawyer on you." Like, he's going crazy. And I'm just like, and in my head, I'm like, hold it down, Hoop. But I didn't know what I was getting arrested for. They didn't tell me nothing.
When did they tell you?
When I got to the station.
And how did they frame it?
I remember. They were just like, I think they read me my Miranda rights, right? And then I don't even think they read my Miranda rights there. I think they when I got to the station, it was the Miranda rights written, and I just had to sign to say I understood it. You know what I'm saying? And then I was in the holding cell for like a while. That's like, I'm just like, I didn't even ask questions. I'm just like, all right, whatever. And then they finally take me in. They're like, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna talk." I'm like, "Yo, what am I here for?" Oh, no, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. So they bring me into the interrogation room, and they're like, "You know what you're here for, right?" And I'm just like, "Nah." They're like, "Yeah, you murdered Darius." And I'm just like, "Darius?" And I'm just like, I said, "Wait, what?" I was like, "You guys charging me with that?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going home." I was like, "Yo, listen, you know how many other things I did that I thought that I was in there for?" My mind was racing sitting there. You get what I'm saying? This one was more like the light where I was standing under was broken. So if you could see me, then good luck, because I couldn't even see my own hands. So, you get what I mean? But when they said that, I was just like, "Oh, nah." And then they're like, "Yeah, what, da, da, da." I remember this one officer was just like, "Listen, you got a daughter. Help us help you. Just tell us that you did it. I'll talk to the prosecutor and see if I could get you 15 to 20 years. And I said, "So you want me to admit to something I didn't do, and you're going to look out with 15 to 20 years? I said, like, I'll take my chances, bro, because I ain't do anything. I was like, I'm innocent. I ain't do anything. I was being a dickhead in the interview. And that's why I'm going to just tell everybody out there, not that I want you to commit crime, but don't be a dickhead in the interview, because when it came time for me to go to trial, that was something we were afraid of how I would look to the jury being a dickhead to the cops. Image is everything. You're better off just not talking, just saying, I want a lawyer, and then just leaving it at that. I was just so excited that it wasn't what I thought it was for, that I'm being a dickhead. Oh, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? But just don't do that. Just, don't talk, and then just leave it at that.
So you decided to take it to trial.
Yeah, so Yeah, so I think my offer was like 35 years, accept or reject. I'm like, oh nah, no, we're not doing that.
And they give you no bail.
Oh, 2.6 mil.
So the escort money wasn't paying enough to cover that.
Man, the escrow money was gone. I had no financial literacy. It was finito. Yeah. So but at least I had money in my bank account and did power of attorney, so that I was able to. So my mom was able to like send me my own money and stuff.
And did you get a paid attorney or a public defender?
I ended up getting I had a public defender first, and I ended up getting a paid attorney.
And how old's your child at this time? You said you had a kid.
3. She's 13 now, about to be 14.
So when you had a kid at that time, why were you still on the streets?
Bro, I had a kid at 19, 20 years old. Why wouldn't I be on the streets? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a kid young. Bro, I would have my daughter for like a weekend, and I would have her in her car seat in my room, like looking at her like, what do I do? Like, for real. I was young. So my grandmother, my mother, my sisters, they helped me out, you know? So I'd bring her to my mom's house. Grandma would chill with her and things like that. So
How old are you when you get this murder charge in 2015?
23.
Oh, you're really young.
Yeah.
Okay. So the escort stuff was super young too.
Yeah. Bro, we're talking about 2 years earlier.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything is all one condensed period.
Yeah,
of
it's
time.
all in that one period of
Yeah.
time. Okay, so do you make it to the full trial or what happens?
No, so we start picking jury, right? So we go to start picking jury. So the dude Marcus Williams that said that he saw me shooting, he said in his statement that it was this girl Tiffany Perez that he pushed to the ground and while I was shooting. And Tiffany Perez wrote a statement like probably like while I was picking jury, saying she was never pushed to the ground, and that from where the person was shooting, you couldn't see anything. So that kind of, there's no murder case without an eyewitness, because if they just debunk the eyewitness testimony, you don't have a case. So the judge said, okay, well, we're gonna have to bring this back to the table, you know. So my lawyer told me, hey, they want 12, and I said, listen, I've been sitting for 4 years. Give me 5 flat so I could max this bad boy out, you know. And so prosecution wasn't budging. So the judge himself said, see if your client would take 7 flat, no probation, no nothing. And I said to my lawyer, bro, we could beat this. And I want to sue them, right? And get like paid. He's like, listen, you're going to court in Stanford, meaning that's New Canaan, Greenwich, Darien. That's your pool, that's your jury pool. Now, if you think you're gonna have black people in your pool, you're tripping, because they don't pay enough for them to miss out on work to be on your jury. Do you know who's gonna be on your jury? That old white lady that watches the news and believes everything that the news says. That's who you're gonna try to convince. So are you sure you want to risk that when with the 7 years you're guaranteed to be home? And I'm like, yeah, that's all I need to hear. I'll take that 7.
And that includes the time you already spent, or is that an addition?
No, yeah, the time I already spent.
So you only have at that point when you take the deal 3 years.
3 years,
and
right?
then do you get parole or probation off?
Yeah, so I ended up getting halfway, but then paroling from halfway.
And after how much time?
I did like 6 and some change.
So you only had to do like another year or so after sentencing?
No, like 2 years, like 2 years and some change, yeah.
Okay. But you have a murder charge on your record for the rest of your life?
I have man 2 and assault 2, so they didn't charge me for all 4 people.
Oh, so there's no murder anymore. They take that off?
Yeah, so it's just man 2 with a firearm.
Okay. And were there other people on the case or just you?
So I had a co-defendant, but he's an idiot for even staying in prison that long. He stayed for 20 months, right? When he was on a bracelet that put him at home at the time of the crime.
So looking back on it, are you glad you took the deal, or do you think that
100%. I'm glad I took the deal, because I can't think of any other situation.
What would have happened if you lost? How much time?
Oh, 120.
120 years?
Yeah, because you get, because my original charge was murder and 3 counts of first degree assault. So you got 25, 20, 20, 20, 20, 40, 60. No, sorry. 20, 40, 60, 85 years. Sorry. 85 years. Oh, and then another 10 years for the gun. So 95. Sorry, 95 years.
Now, this whole time, the 4 years or 5 years that you're fighting the case, where do they keep you?
I was in Northern.
Is that an actual prison or is it like a county jail? How does
No,
that
I
work?
was in the actual prison.
Okay, so it doesn't work like some states where you're just sitting in the county jail.
Well, the county jail is if it goes according to bond. The reason why they use Northern as a county for $1 million bonds or higher.
So because your bond was so high, do you think you had a different experience, like a better experience, or
Better, bro.
'cause it's a
Northern
prison?
Northern is where they kept the death row people that was supposed to get killed. Northern was 23-1. You barely saw sunlight.
So you'd rather be there than, I mean, at a county jail than there.
100%.
Okay, so
You
tell
kidding
us about your experience at Northern.
Northern was something else, bro. Northern was like let's say if it's raining outside and one drop comes through the ceiling, lockdown. You're accustomed to getting your trays put through the door. Bro, we barely saw like yo, I remember in Northern, there was a time period where like we didn't come out the cell legit for like 3 weeks. So we just bird bathed in the cell to where like when we finally came out, the whole unit was different. We're like, when did this person get here? You know, like it's just like the whole unit was different. And you only have 45 minutes out. You have 45 minutes out. So imagine like 30 of us. We got to take like 3-minute showers each for real, and then use the phone and all of that. Like it was rough.
So you do your whole time like that while awaiting sentencing or trial?
Yes. So they laxed up on Northern like my last year there, where they allowed us to come out to eat and stuff.
So you really don't have much like physical like there's no room for fights or room for
Oh no,
anything.
that happened when we started being able to come out.
But before that, there's none of that.
Yeah, so Northern I only got into like 3 fights in Northern.
When they lax the conditions.
Yeah, when they laxed the conditions.
Okay, tell us about those.
Yo, so one fight was on the basketball court, and it's an embarrassing fight because the dude was like missing a thumb. Like he was missing a thumb, and he was my boy, but that wasn't really like something to like really like. It wasn't something big. There was this one dude from Hartford though that I was playing. We were playing spades, and he's trash. And it's like, yo, if we betting money, I'm like, yo, hey, please, like his name was A. Like, yo, please do the right thing, bro. Like, please. So we playing spades and we got stuck twice. So there's the game. So I said, yo, bro, put your hand down, like, you know, so I can see what you had left. This dude was just holding spades when he could have been cutting books. Like, we really had a Boston, but, you know, like, I'm like, yo. So I got tight about it, and then I started spazzing on him, and we started talking crazy. So they had a bathroom open by the thing. So I said, hey, yo, we could just go in there and get it in for real quick. Like, and A's bigger than me, right? So I'm like very nervous. I'm like, yo, I can't like lose this shit, you know? Because I'm the one that initiated talking stuff, like talking shit. So by the grace of God, he's just a Hartford dude that was only accustomed to having a gun. Because as big as he was, he couldn't fight. And that was better for me. I waxed him. I whooped him. So that was great. That was a great one. Another fight I got into was with it wasn't really so much of a fight. I literally like just chumped him for real. Cause it was this kid Nate from New Haven, always talking about who's snitching, who's snitching, who's snitching. And like very loud mouth and stuff like that. And just always looking to put somebody down about being a rat or whatever, which we didn't condone at the time. Come to find out, somebody comes to me and slide me his paperwork. He was a snitch on a body. So I showed him the paperwork and was just like, yo, bro, you gotta go. Like, and he just like, nah, I'm not going anywhere. I said, all right, cool. He went to use the phone. I hung up his phone. He went to go use the shower. Close and lock the shower. Like, you're not, what are we doing? Like, you're not living here. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was dumb. doing that because my celly, he was older. My celly Gully, he said to me like, "Bro, he's from New Haven. Do you see any other New Haven dudes checking him? So why would you?" And that made sense to me. Like, yo, if they're gonna allow him to rat and be around, so why am I doing that? But it was too late. I already kicked him out. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Um, I caught 2 charges in Northern for whooping pedophiles.
What would you do to them? What would happen?
You know the dead batteries. Put it in the sock.
You would sock them with batteries?
Yeah.
How would you know they were pedophiles?
They act like we don't have the news. we we watch the news. Like we know big bonds are coming here. You get what I'm saying? So we see the news. I give you the courtesy to be like, yo, oh hey, what you in here for? Oh, just some bullshit. Yo, no, it doesn't matter. I'm like, all right, cool. All I do is when we go out for rec, I look at the door, look at your number, your name, and then just go on the phone. Hey sis, look this name up and tell me what they're in here for. It's just that simple.
Now, what do you get out of that?
At the time, you gotta understand, it was 35 years accept or reject for me. I'm thinking I'm cooked. So for me, it was just a dumb mentality to have. Like, nah, we not having that. But it did feel good to like really like. I mean, my daughter was like 3, 4 at the time. You sitting here, well, he specifically touched little boys in Greenwich. You know, so it was just like, you're not in my cell. You know.
Now, why would Northern relax the conditions? Like they go from not having this type of violence to relaxing it and now having all of this violence?
Because it was too many people suing the prison. Because they're like, listen, you're technically those inmates are not sentenced. Not sentenced conditions can't be the same as people that's convicted, you know? And that's true. You know, we should be able to get recs. We do need phone times to make call to family and friends, whether it be for raising money for bond or getting in contact with our lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So to have a prison where we barely coming out the cell, we're barely doing anything like that's just nuts for something that's supposed to be high bond, something that's supposed to be like a holding prison rather than an actual prison. So
now when you're sitting in a cell like that for 23 hours a day, just awaiting trial, are you thinking this is going to be the rest of my life? Like, how am I going to
of course
manage
you
this?
think, bro, you know how many times like you go to sleep and you wake up and you're like, and you just see your cell and your heart just start beating and you're like, yo, and you get a little claustrophobic, like, yo, I can't believe I'm in here. Yeah, that happens.
What did you think about your daughter?
Bro, I was fighting the whole body. I didn't really think much. She was a baby. I was just trying to make it out to her. But my mom would bring her to come see me.
Now, would you get respect on the tier in the building because you were there for a body?
Of course. Of course, you did. But it wasn't too much on it because that's high bond. Most of us there was there for bodies. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because out of all the people that were there, it was me, this kid Jay Nels from Stanford, this kid Blaze from Stanford, this kid Keem from Norwalk, and my boy Chris Santana from Bridgeport. All 5 of us were in the same unit, and all 5 of us beat our bodies. Like that's like unheard of. Cause we were in Stanford court and Chris was in, I think, Bridgeport court. Like it was crazy. Cause that percentage is the people going home from the bodies is just so low. We were so used to people coming back from trial. You get what I'm saying? Like, bro, I just lost, you know? And or people coming back being like, yo, bro, I just took that 40, man. Like, you know, like that was a majority of convictions was like literally 40 plus and people losing trial, like, you know.
How does it feel being able to say, that you murdered someone, but you didn't get convicted of that?
I mean, honestly, it's like I don't know if I would say it's a flex.
Do you feel bad about it at all?
No,
or-
I don't feel bad. But I wouldn't say it's a flex either, you know? Because my thing is like, think about it. If you believe in karma, like how do you think you're gonna go out? You feel me? So, a lot of people like to like, praise it, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's I'm trying to move on from that, like for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, ugh. If you asked me this question back then, like what I like, if you ask me if I go back in time, would I not do it? I'm gonna say no, I would. Right? I wouldn't get to where I'm at today and feel the way I feel about that if I didn't go through what I went through. Because then it would have just been nothing to me. You get what I'm saying? So the fact that I went through it is the only reason why I'm like now being like, you know what? It's not a flex. It's not really like a big flex. I mean, does it show what you're capable of doing? I guess, but who's not capable of doing that?
Before the case got resolved, were you thinking to yourself, like, if I am able to beat this or if I'm able to get out of this, I'm going to change my life and do something different?
No, when you fighting it, the number one thing you thinking of, you just reading your paperwork over and over. Like, if I get out of this, I'm killing like 10 people. Like in my paperwork. That's what you're thinking, right? Like when you're fighting it. Like, yo, how could this person, I'm just reading over and over. And then when your discovery, which your lawyer won't give to you, I was watching videos of people interviews, like at the police station, and like, oh my gosh. Like, you think there's a joke when they have like giving these dudes cigarettes and McDonald's? That's not a joke. They really do be doing that.
I think the worst from my experience is, the people that say, I didn't talk to anyone. And then you read the report.
And they
they said everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then you believe them though.
Yeah, because they're people you've grown up with or you
Right.
trusted, and they're believable, and it's not till you see that report.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Bro, it was people that had nothing to do with nothing that wrote something on me. They probably got caught, like arrested for like having weed on them and were just willing to talk on the situation.
So now how does your mindset change once you actually, sign the deal, you get that time and you go back to whatever prison they send you? Is it different?
Yeah, the time just slowed up crazy. When you actually know you're going home, the time slowed up crazy. Like the 4 years was the fastest part of my bid. Not being sentenced is when time flies.
But what's your mindset once you do get sentenced?
I did like a paralegal course from the world. I started reading self-help books instead of like hood books. I got right with God. I started going to church.
So did you look at it as a second chance at life, or?
100%. But then also my mindset was just like on what I'm going back home to, like people that might have a problem with me and things like that. So it was kind of like, all right, cool, it's a second chance at life, but there's also a chance that I could get it rocking again because who knows how people feel about the situation and things like that. So
Yeah, how do you separate yourself from that?
bro, it's easier than what people think. Just literally stay out the way, right? You don't go, like, what's the lifestyle people live? They want to go to the club, right? They want to go to the Jordan releases. You get what I'm saying? They want to go to the lit bars. Like, just stay out the way. I always look at it like this. If you work, it's hard to get into stuff. It really is. Because once you work, and if you work hard and then you do what you have to do, you'll be too tired to do other things. And it was easier given the fact that I had a daughter, so I could have put a little bit more focus on her. I have her full time now, so it is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Where do they send you for the rest of your prison sentence after you get sentenced?
So I went to Walker, which is where you do assessment. And assessment is where they decide where you're going to spend the rest of your time. So after assessment, I did more time in Walker than I was supposed to because I became a chairman.
What does that mean?
Oh, a chairman is a worker. Yeah, a chairman is a worker. So because I was a worker, I got to stay there. You get what I'm saying? But I remember when there was a new captain that came in and wanted to clear the chairman out because, we had a system going on selling bags and stingers. And, we had a system going on and they wanted to eliminate that system. So we all ended up getting shipped out and I ended up going to Carl Robinson.
And what was that like?
That's a dorm. Bro, after you leave Northern, every prison is like a dorm, just about. Every prison is lax once you leave Northern.
Is it hard to adapt to that?
Yeah, because you're more, like when you do your bid, bro, you're more like I'd rather sit with my back against the wall and watch everything that's going than just be open into an open space. The dorm, you're open all the time. So it took a little bit to get used to that. You get what I'm saying? Because like I sleep light. You walk by my bunk, I'm getting up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know? So you had to get used to that. Like, you know?
But you're also probably dealing with a lot of people that, you know, are there for, say, like fraud or not serious offenses.
Yeah, because Carl Robinson's when you're at the end of your bid. You had a lot of people that just did like 18 and they're like on year, well, they got an 18-year sentence and they're on year 16 and a half, right? So that's who you're dealing with. You're dealing with people that's like on their way out. But you also dealing with people that just came in for a 1-year stint, so they don't really care what type of time they on. You get what I'm saying?
So is there clashes between like those old heads, OGs, and those, you know,
Yeah,
people?
because you know the younger generation is always disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So there are clashes. Most of the like beef came from gambling and sports.
Now, how old are you when you got out?
30. I turned 30.
30 years old. What year is this? Like 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
2021, you get home. Oh, so you make it through COVID in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was horrible,
What was that like there?
bro.
Because you were in the dorms for that.
Bro, I caught COVID before we knew it was COVID. I'm talking about people we were like deathly sick. Like I'm talking about like, why can't we get over this flu? My celly and I were like sick, like we like in the bed like 12 hours out of the day, only getting up to shower really quick and getting right back in bed. Like it was bad. He went through the stuff where he couldn't taste anything and things like that. I didn't go through that. But when I got home in 2022, after I got home in 2021, in 2022 I caught COVID. No, end of 2021 I caught COVID. That's when I went through the couldn't smell, couldn't taste, all of that. Like it was bad.
So what was your plan when you got out?
Originally, I did a realtor course, right? I passed the realtor course, but never went and took the test. And then, like when I decided to want to take the test, like 6 months later, I forgot everything I learned, like for real. So I was just like, nah, let me not do that. So I started working, and then I just thought of entrepreneurship. So I started a car rental business. I recommend people do not do that. Too much of a liability, bro. It sucks. It could be lucrative if done the proper way. I didn't have a guide. I did not do it the proper way. So no, just working hard. Bro, I clocked out at one point because of so many call outs on my job. I clocked out like 72 hours a week. Like, bro, as a bus boy with a $1,900 after taxes paycheck and you get paid every week, just know you're putting in freaking hours, bro. Like, you know?
So now the restaurant you got arrested at hired you back?
Yeah, and they help pay for my legal team.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good owner.
Yeah, well, it's a couple owners, yeah, but they love me though. You know, I was the only black employee for a long time.
You're a likable guy.
Appreciate it.
I
Thank
see
you.
why you did well with the escort service and the swingers.
Bro, it's about just making people feel comfortable. I work in Westport, bro. If you don't, I was like when I was talking to your girl on her podcast, like she gets it, right? Especially in the service industry. My thing is this: I have to relate to you to like the best that I can. And I take things on the chin and leave it at the restaurant. I don't go home with any comment that was said to me or any racism that I deal with. Because you have to understand, right? A lot of old people come from a different generation. I can't even say that they're racist for real. I feel like that's just what they know, right? So if they be like, oh, you're a nice colored boy, you know, like it's like I get it, right? That was what was proper in your time. So, you know, and then you would have that liberal lady like, oh my God, I'm offended. I'm like, how are you offended? You're not even black. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but you just take shit like, you know, and they'll be your best customer and become like one of your best friends. You get what I'm saying? So I know how to talk to people. I'm very respectful, but I am myself though. That's what people like. I'm still myself. Like, bro, I'm talking about, I have nothing but Spanish and white employees. And when I walk into work and everybody's right there, the first thing I say, hey, what's up, niggas? And everybody's like, oh my God, hi. You know, like, that's me though. You get what I'm saying? Like, I make everybody like, I put everybody in a position to feel uncomfortable, but like a good uncomfortable, like, oh, yo, he's crazy. He's nuts. You get what I'm saying? And you have to have a dark sense of humor to be in the restaurant business in general.
Has any of your customers ever recognized you from like the news?
No, they recognize me from them being in the restaurant when I got arrested. They're like, Lil, the last time I seen you, you were in cuffs in that corner over there. Yeah.
And I'm sure they followed the case, right? They
Yeah, like
probably,
a lot of my customers wrote me.
and they were okay with the charges and everything, or
I mean, I didn't do it at the time. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, like I remember Hooper was just like, listen, I knew Lou for 2 years and he would never do something like that, you know? So it was a different lifestyle. It's crazy because it's bartender Steve. It's the bartender Steve, right? Who was I used to bar back for him. And I remember when he was just like telling me a story, and then he's just like, but he's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. He's just like, you don't know anything about murder. And I'm like, you sure, Steve? And I brought it up to Steve like a year ago. And I'm like, Steve, remember when you said I don't know nothing about killing somebody? Well, surprise. And then Steve was just like, yeah, whatever, Lou. Yeah.
is it hard to navigate life when you have those charges all over the internet? Because when you search your name, it's everywhere, and
It's
there's not,
everywhere, yeah.
it's not like there's a follow-up article
Is
saying
it
what
so my
happened.
thing is I never like denied it, you know? I never like it depends on what you mean by navigate. I work in the restaurant industry, so that's not really a hard navigation, you know, because I was the original crew at the restaurant, so I was able to work at the restaurant, and then when it comes to other restaurants, it doesn't matter because I have the experience, and they'll take experience over your resume any day of the week. You get what I'm saying? So, in terms of navigating as a man, yes. So as a felon, you can't get life insurance. You can't insure your jewelry. These are things that I don't even know about until you try to do it. You get what I'm saying? It's certain jobs that you can't get that you're eliminated from the process. I started when I got home, I was doing my prerequisites for the nursing program to be a nurse, only to find out that so by law, they can't deny you into the nursing program for being a felon, but but you can't do your clinicals at the hospital because you won't pass their background check. So it's kind of like you're setting a false narrative. You're better off just saying you can't become a nurse as a felon. Just say that, because to say that you could when you really can't, because you can't pass without clinicals, and you won't pass and the hospital does its own background check, not the school. The hospital that you'll do your clinicals at does its own background check. So how in the world are you going to do clinicals when you can't even get into the hospital that does the clinicals? So that was a like kick in the butt.
So what advice would you give to someone that, has their case blasted all over the internet and is having a hard time kind of navigating?
Look into the restaurant business and entrepreneurship, right? And the trades. The trades. I'm interviewing for apprenticeship, a carpentry apprenticeship. And I'm doing that because I have my general contracting license, but I don't have a trade. So I have to subcontract most of the work. I want to be able to do the work. And not only that, the reason why I'm doing an apprenticeship is because I want to not only learn how to do the work properly, but also be able to train people that I hire into doing the work properly. So I know what kind of work is being done. So that's why the advice I give: trades, restaurant business, and entrepreneurship. That's the way to navigate. And listen, you're gonna fail 10 times before you achieve. So you can't get discouraged by failure. If you're the type that gets discouraged by failure, then it's not for you. I'm a gambler, so I know how to lose. I could take losing on the chin, and you'd have to be able to do that in order to be successful, for sure.
What do you think is the most important life lesson that, all these stages in your life have taught you? Because you're someone that's experienced a lot of different aspects of life.
Okay. The biggest thing I learned was that everything you do has a consequence. That's for sure. So whether it's a good consequence is up to you. You get what I'm saying? Believe it or not, through the escorting, I was able to learn of a different side of humanity, like a whole different side of humanity, to where like it's really a dark underworld out there in a whole level. But given that I was doing things that I never like thought was even possible, also allowed me to become a actor, so to speak. So now I know how to deal with different levels of customers in the restaurant business because it's so much that I've seen and so much that I dealt with that I'd never dealt with before, that when hit with something new, I'm able to adapt to it very quickly. So being in that world allowed me to be able to adapt quickly to things, no matter how crazy the situation. The consequence of that, sheesh. Like my boy E-Bank said, he know a stripper nigga that'll kill you. Yo, so I can't. So there's certain things that you just, once you've done that, you can't live it down. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like that's just what it is. But just there's consequences to everything you do. So try in everything that you do, try to make it beneficial. There's two things in life: assets and liabilities. What you should focus on is things that creates assets, right? Rather than focus on that things are liabilities. And if you look at life that way, your lifestyle will change completely. You get what I'm saying? Like that brand new car over owning a house won't make sense to you anymore. You get what I'm saying? When you think about assets and liabilities. Because a car is nothing but a liability that I depreciate. As in your house, what the property value is going to go up eventually, and for every time you pay mortgage, you're adding on to your equity. That's the best advice I could give in life. Like, just know that everything comes with consequences. So it's just a matter of knowing what's worth it and what's not.
Tell everyone about your podcast.
Ooh, all right. Wait for this. So I have my podcast, All Lines Crossed. And I actually shoot in this studio because we lit over here. It's about me just speaking my mind, and I have my co-host Ali, who's on a few episodes, and I just speak my mind. I'm gonna be more consistent, but we talk about like recent events. We talk about like listen, it might come off a little misogynistic, but it is what it is. Like I feel like it's just it's the type of podcast that you're gonna subscribe, but you won't repost if you're successful. You get what I'm saying? You'll subscribe and watch it you'll watch it with your boys, but to repost some of my content, if you're a lawyer, doctor, whatever, probably not.
It's for the swingers of the world.
Yeah, it's for the swingers of the world, and it's for the people that I speak what others want to say but can't do to their positions in life. You get what I'm saying? And I'm real. And I say to anybody offended by what I say, first of all, just understand it's my opinion, right? So that doesn't make it a fact. But to anybody that's offended by what I say, it's because it pertains to you. That's all. But you could definitely find me at on YouTube at All Lines Crossed. I also have AL Crossed Pod on Instagram or IG, and I'll just put it so you could tag it and things like that.
Yeah, we'll have the links.
No, for sure. I have the links to all of it, and definitely tap in. Like, so this interview was just me and Ian kicking it. Go to my podcast, and I definitely want you to pop on my podcast because we're gonna
100%.
talk that. We're gonna talk that talk for real. But yo, listen, I appreciate you having me.
Of course, bro. I'm glad we were able to do this.
This was a dope experience. Keep in mind, guys, I was supposed to meet up with this dude. We're talking about damn near a year ago, but he's a busy man.
If I didn't really know the depth to your story, I would have had you on sooner.
Oh man,
yeah,
it was.
Letitia and Matt were saying like, oh yeah, he went to prison for murder, and then I looked up your case. I was like, oh shit, we've been sitting on a hidden gem this whole time.
Nah, for sure. It was dope, man. This was
better
a dope
late
experience.
than never.
Nah, for sure. And I'm happy we're able to do it.
Yeah.
So definitely, you guys tap into All Lines Cross. Hopefully, I'm gonna have Ian on it soon.
100%.
So
yeah,
we'll do it.
You want.
For sure. Thank you, man.
You.